be our kind of the first post-game breakdown of SEC opponents this weekend. How are you doing, Ghost?
Oh, I'm good, brother. Hard not to be doing pretty damn good after a little 3-0 sweep at Old Dish Falk Field.
Oh yeah, no, especially against an opponent like Georgia, where they're number 3 coming into the Dish, second top 3 team that we've had coming in. We took it serious, but this time we swept it, and that was a really good feeling, sweeping the game.
And I think I saw Occupy say it, and it's a feeling that reigns true within me too, and I'm sure you as well. But yeah, you win Friday, Saturday. You take the series, you're feeling good. We're feeling good. And you lose Sunday, and it's just that lingering loss. It sits with you until you go play another conference game on Friday. And so, yeah, big to close it out and get a sweep because they were riding high after winning Friday, Saturday. But that's a cool part about this club, man. They're dialed in, night out. Well,
Yeah, it's like
except for
the thing
Tuesday, but sorry.
Yeah, except for Tuesday. Yeah, that one still kind of stings just a little bit, but yeah, it's like that thing where you always want to win on Sunday, right? But you at least get the chance to salvage, secure, or sweep the series, right? It's the 3 S's, and
Right.
you at least get one opportunity on Sunday. So it's nice that we were able to get the ladder of all those 3 and get the sweep. But this I kind of had an interesting kind of idea to go through with this one because I planned on doing the pregame, just couldn't get out to the Dish early enough. Also, wind and weather was really kind of brutal, but
True.
nevertheless, I just thought it was kind of cool because of how much respect there was for Georgia going into it. You look at their stats, all right? Georgia Bulldogs coming into this weekend were 29-5 or 29-2. Obviously, they're 29-5 now. They had 8 players with 5 or more home runs, 16 pitchers with 10 or more innings pitched. So they use a lot of pitchers. They have a lot of home runs. Brian Curley was fantastic for them on Saturday. I think it was Saturday. Yeah, Saturday. I mean, but to limit their home runs, even with the wind blowing, the one thing that I will point to is Texas out hit their home. We out home run them in the same weather. So that has to at least say, if you're going to say all these negative things about the weather and how that limited Georgia, you have to at least give a little bit of respect to Texas and their ability to go and slug the ball.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And for me personally, I wanted to see how Georgia played against a big opponent away from Athens. Everything had kind of been in their backyard at Foley Field. And like you've talked about before, that's a big park in itself. But you got to put some big time respect on the entire staff of Max Wiener and what, I mean, everybody played, everybody that got out there. I mean, which I guess you said, what did we use? 5 arms, which may be the most impressive overall stat of the weekend.
Yeah,
But,
and I mean, like you said, using 5 arms against this batting lineup. These are some nice numbers right here, man.
I'll be honest. You picked Texas to sweep the series. I picked Texas to win the series. I don't know if either one of us would have ever said, hey, yeah, we only are going to use 5 guys against this lineup right here. Tough stuff.
And then for one of those guys to come away with a sweep, or not a sweep, come away with a save and a win, is a freshman, Dylan Volantis, that we get for 2 more years after this. That's some really exciting stuff. But just so to go on down and get to kind of the breakdown of what happened. Georgia got slaughtered. This is red and black is kind of a fitting the color scheme for this right here, because you look at this: 3 of their 8 lowest batting average games came versus Texas. 3 of the 4 lowest on base percentage games versus UT, and they were number 13 in batting average. They were number 1 in hits. They were number 1 in on-base percentage. I think they were number 1 in slugging percentage. We got 3 of the 7 lowest slugging games. And then the OPS, 3 of the 4 slowest. And then also on the OPS and OBP, we have the top 2 of their lowest games. So, I mean, it's just like dominance is the only word that you can use.
The most impressive part for me, and I'm curious as what you think, but the OBP numbers, man, because as you know, knowing baseball, you keep the Bulldogs off the bases whenever they do inevitably, string a hit together here or there. It doesn't do near as much damage. And a big part for Texas is when, we talked about Luke Harrison Saturday's start and Texas being in really good command on the mound. Tough, I believe, 3rd inning right there, and still bulldogged up. Sorry for the pun. and got out of that inning with minimal damage and kept Texas in that ball game, in which obviously we all know how Saturday ended up turning out. And so, yeah, you mentioned Brian Curley for Georgia on Saturday. He was damn good. And for Texas to even have a chance to come back in the game with the way that he was throwing and the way that things kind of went early in that game with an unearned run and a couple of command issues in the third, I mean, that's huge, man. It says a ton about this team resiliency. But, yeah, the OBP, keeping dogs off the base pass. We talked about, solo home runs going to come here or there, and it did. But keeping them off, those extra base hits, obviously they didn't have a ton of those either. You're going to win a shit ton of ball games, man. If you're going Dylan Stewart for 7 2/3 and turning it over to nasty Dylan Valances for an inning and a third behind him, a really good recipe for success.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, Brian Curley, he the first 4 innings. I mean, I'm sitting there wondering, is this dude just going to pull something out, just pull a rabbit out of the hat and like give us something that we haven't seen all season long? And we ended up getting on the bases. But the cool thing about this game was you look at Georgia, like this is one of my favorite parts about this team is just their ability to respond. And this will kind of go great into a quote that I have from Will Gasparino, I think after this game too. Texas was down 4-0. And then we put up crooked numbers. 5 in the fifth inning, get 2 runs. Right, we're chip away right there. In the 7th inning, we put up 5 runs, and then we just hold them there the rest of the way. And it's just this team's ability to fight and just scrap consistently, no matter what. They lose 2 of their best players, they still respond. When we get Adrian Rodriguez back, that's going to be a nice little injection of hitting talent. And also potentially maybe we'll get to see his defensive prowess out there in left field because feeling like it's pretty hard to take Casey Borber out of the game right now. And go on.
I was going to say, yeah, no, that's a good point. I mean, getting in there, making the most of the opportunities. Friday night kind of busted that open with the way that Dylan was throwing, and that one, that 2-run shot to left was a rocket. It's going to get out of almost every park. And baseball, big leagues, college level, doesn't matter. So yeah, seeing Casey come on, man, had some really damn good plate appearances all weekend, really helped the club out. They depended on him. And so, yeah, it's really, really good to see. And like you just said, it's going to be hard to keep his, name out of the lineup.
And I mean, the one thing that I think is going to be really interesting that if we do get a Max Blue later on down through the year is, well, then you're going to have to force like a guy like a Casey Borba or Jaquay Stewart out of the lineup. But at the same time, you're also going to have a very, very good bat that's proven and tested at your disposal. Yep. So this could be kind of like a rich man's problems. But to go back to that Will Gasparino quote that I was talking about, Will Gasparino, this quote just fired me up, man, because this goes to about the response.
One thing to have that success you all had in non-conference play, was there any doubt it was going to translate to success here in the SEC?
I mean, we play the same every single day. We play to a standard, not a scoreboard. So whoever we're playing, we try to play the same. And the guys, we're just having a lot of fun, and we're playing really good baseball.
One thing.
So, I mean, for those, if you had a hard time hearing on that one, Will Gasparino was talking about how Texas plays to a standard, not a scoreboard. And there's no bigger evidence in this game right here. I believe like Illinois too, earlier in the year, just got down to like 7-0 or something like that, and the Horns just kept chipping back. This is just a really fun team to watch. And one thing that I love about like looking at the scoring summary, all dogs up on top right here early on, but then it's all Horns later in the game. And
crooked numbers, like you said.
It just shows that mentality that they have. Like, I mean, you got to have a fighter's mentality, and it's really cool to hear Texas fight go through the stands while this is happening.
Yeah, I mean, the 5-run 7th right there, that was a huge inning because in that moment, I think Texas fans knew right there we had that series. We everything just kind of clicked for us in that inning. Got a little help from Georgia pitching as far as walks, but credit to Texas because this is college baseball. College pitchers, they're going to put guys on base at times. They're going to have leadoff guys get on base, and you still have to execute, come through, and take advantage of those situations. And so credit to, Texas for some really good approaches at the plate there late in that game and, just fighting back. And because Brian Curley, man, I mean, he was dotting us up through the first 4 innings, throwing 94 to 98, painting it on the black. He was really working the outside corner, especially there to, I believe, to left-handed hitters there, and which Texas had plenty of. And so, yeah, really good performance on him. And, we did help him out a little bit. I think we kind of, a little bit over aggressive early in that game, but to see us kind of settle down, adjust at the plate, and then put together a ton of, or string together a lot of really good at bats. Good things are going to happen when you're doing that.
Yeah, I might have been chirping at the home plate umpire trying to get a few of those calls turned the other way. I might have had a little bit of different opinion when I was live in game, but I would agree for the most part that it was pretty good zone. But Brian Curley one heck of a job. But I mean, and when you got Max Grubbs up there dealing like he was, like the strikeout numbers aren't like I was talking earlier today on my show on Inside Texas. You got 9 strikeouts for Luke Harrison, right? Yes, he does have the earned runs, and yes, he does have the hits given up, but only 1 base on ball. But if you're looking at the strikeouts and base on balls, 5.2 innings pitched, then you go, okay, the guy came in 3.1 innings, no base on balls, yeah, but he had only 2 strikeouts, right? He must not have been that dominant. The feeling inside the game, and probably from people watching on the television, just absolute dominance from Max Grubbs. And then you also had that from Dylan Volantis on Friday and Sunday. I mean, when you have back-end guys that can go and replace our top-end starters, which this is – I think that Texas – there should be no question right now. The number 1 pitching staff in the nation is Texas. To be able to hold an LSU squad who is number 3 – they were number 3 coming into Texas, and I think they're number 3 still right now. Hitting team in the nation. We held them to like a 296 batting average, and that's like 50 points below what they normally are. And then you go back to this screen right here. I mean, this is the best hitting team in the nation, and to watch what we did versus this team is just downright impressive. And you were talking about that mentality at the plate, and I think that goes perfectly with this.
That's work count, work the pitch.
I mean, have you ever seen a pinch job like this?
And I've been.
All right, let me go back to the very beginning. But he's talking about working the count like
the
this.
Beginning of the year, just really bought into Coach Slosh's philosophy, and that's work count, work the pitchers, and when you get your pitch, don't miss it. And I've been able to get.
And so that was on a 3-1 count right there. And I'll be honest, when he first hit this, all right, I'm like, man, that might be like just the pessimist in me. The wind is blowing in really hard. I'm like, that might be an out. But then when I see him get to right there, I'm like, oh, that thing's gone. Because I give it another look at the and then that thing's touching the top of the scoreboard.
The year just really bought into Coach Slosh's philosophy.
I just love that. I love that bat flip, man. Like it, that was as casual, as disrespectful of a bat flip that you could ever get.
It almost seems like he's borderline disappointed, like he hit a lazy fly ball into the gap and he just got 1/8 of an inch underneath it. And that's, a lot of times the difference in a lazy fly ball into the outfield and a home run. And the next thing you know, it's like, oh no, he feels really good about that swing. Obviously, he barreled it up. But let me say this, I do say I agree with you on the pitching staff thing. And now this is the SEC. You're going to give up runs at times. Texas is probably going to have a weekend where they give up some runs. But the only other staff that really, you would compare to what Texas has done so far would be Tennessee. And they turn around and give up 26 runs in 1 day of baseball to Texas A&M, who had struggled severely at the plate before that weekend. So hard not to be right there with you, especially considering Texas has played an LSU powerful lineup and held their own there, and then they dominated a damn good Georgia lineup.
And I really just realized my mic was behind my computer, so it might sound like I was talking into a shoebox. But
you're a lot louder now.
Yeah, I'm probably sound a lot better now. But it's the one thing that I will think is kind of funny is I think Tennessee fans might now start to finally agree with me and everybody else that their ballpark is a little small. They might be starting to use that excuse now.
It's a Cracker Jack box. It is what it is.
But yeah, and then the Ryland Galvan, I had to show this. I mean, I got to mute it because you got my ass yelling and my voice is still recovering. But I mean, good Lord, what just the environment at the game. I had some not Georgia players. I had some Georgia fans talking to me about the environment at the game, and they're saying, "Hey, this is one of the best baseball environments I've ever gone to go see." I mean, you got a cannon firing off in left field. Uh, the folks out in occupy left field, also the right field folks. It's just there. I know this is probably the case. You got like folks at Baum Walker in Arkansas. I know a Texas fan saying Arkansas fans are friendly is kind of sounds like something that's what's going on here. But for the most part in college baseball, when you go to tailgating, the fans are pretty open, but just absolutely hospitable fans out there in left field, making people feel welcome. But love to see all the Georgia fans soaking up all the traditions inside Dish Falk Field.
Yeah, it's really cool, man. I mean, that's you want to win games and you want to get out there and be loud for your team, but at the same time, the human in you, you're playing against other college kids. You want to show, the opposing fan bases, what your school is all about. That hey, this is one of the premier baseball atmospheres, programs, et cetera, in the country. And you talked about Will Gasparino and Texas playing to a standard, and there's a lot of us who believe that Texas baseball is the standard. And at the moment, that standard is looking a lot like it did for decades under some pretty damn good coaches. And so it's definitely a special time, man. And, coming into this year, if you tell any Texas fan that, it's like, you're sitting at 4 losses, almost, a third of the way through April, I'd have had a hard time believing you. But, man, with the talent on this team, the coaching staff, I thought it might take more time to gel. But obviously these guys are they ride and die for each other. You can tell just by that clip how much fun they're having, just going out and executing, playing winning baseball. And so it feels like, honestly, man, like anything's on the table. It really does. You got a lineup, you're building depth, which, like you talked about earlier, because Max Blue's out, so you have to have guys step up and fill that void. And obviously, the pitching staff is the pitching staff.
Yeah, really, one thing that stands out to me about the losses is one. Yeah, we do have that stinking. We do have that little stinker in Texas State with that loss right there. But outside of that loss, every other team is, even UTSA for quite a few folks, they're right there in that fringe, 25 to 35 spot. If they were to have to rank 35 teams, they'd probably make it on the graphic. That's not really a bad loss, especially when you start looking at the RPI. And I'll pull up the RPI here. Yeah, but so pulling up the RPI, you look at this, man. The losses, we do have some quality losses. I know that's kind of almost sounds excuse making type thing, but UTSA that game goes into extra innings. We lose by 1 run. There was a point where we had a game. I think we had the game a lead late in the game or had it tied. Obviously we had it tied, but I had a lead late in the game and we surrendered that. But you also look at Louisville, same thing. Had a lead late in the 9th inning. They go and they tie. Then we get the lead again in the 10th inning. Then they come back and win the game. And you just got to give them full credit for that. But, man, it's just this team's ability to not only respond, but, survive these games. And then you look at the LSU game. That's really the only game where we truly got beat, where we didn't have a chance late in the game. Texas State, you can even say, hey, I thought live in the game that Kimball Schuessler is going to tie up the game with that hit. But Texas State made an amazing play, and you just got to give them credit for what they did. But regardless, Texas sitting 4 in RPI, 1 below Georgia, who we just beat. But never, as long as we keep on winning games, we're going to set ourselves up for a really good spot to either host a regional or host a super regional. I think we're probably, if we take 5 of those next 6 games in conference, I think that we probably already locked up at least a regional host. At this point, for us to not host a super regional, we would probably have to have the wheels just completely fall off. And just it would have to be a fantastic, just horrible season in the style of 2019, if anybody remembers that one. But you look at the RPI, future opponents that we have. Arkansas, they're number 1. That game versus Arkansas, if both teams can hold on, that's going to be a very, very fun matchup between the two. You look at also, we got Auburn coming up. Oklahoma. 3 of our next 6 opponents are in the top. Are in 6 weekend opponents are in top 20 RPI. So if we can just keep on taking series, we're going to set ourselves up for some really nice RPI numbers to give ourselves a good shot to add a national seed.
Yeah, at this point, man, you're really obviously thinking about a national seed, and I know there's been a lot of discussion about Texas and the schedules that they were given across multiple sports, and I mean, call it what it is. The schedule, we've got A&M, who's going to be playing better baseball by the time they get to Texas or to Austin. Kentucky's not bad at all, but that Arkansas series, I mean, if Texas can go in there and just find a way to take 2 out of 3 on the road and what's going to be a crazy environment up there, you win that series, man. And it's like, I mean, how does Texas, anything can happen, but with the schedule that we have, it's like, we're thinking we're a top 3 or 4 if you can go in there and win that Arkansas series. I know that's just a hypothetical, but
I mean, well, you look at this, right? Like, so we got Kentucky. We're going to go on the road to Kentucky, right? You have Auburn coming at home. They're going to likely, if they just keep on winning games, they're going to be a top 10 team coming into this weekend series. A&M, by the time we play them, they may very well be a ranked team. They're looking like it lately. Obviously, if you beat the number 1 Tennessee Volunteers, you deserve at least you deserve a look at least, right?
right.
Arkansas, it's going to be hard because they got the Georgia Bulldogs that they got to go on the road to Georgia. But this is also one of the things where, man, Georgia, this is life in the SEC. One moment you can be riding high. You can be 8-1.
Right.
Top of the world, right? And then you just look up and you're 8-7 in conference, right? Like, it's like that is life in the SEC, and they definitely are going to be hungry for some wins. So that'll be interesting because if Arkansas is number 1, they've earned it. Yep. If they've held on to number 1, then they've absolutely earned every last bit of that. So that would be a fun series. Look, I know Florida's not having a fantastic season, but I'm still always going to think that, like, I'm always going to think that they're a really good team because I watched them play some really good ball early in the year. And baseball is just a really tricky sport, so they could easily just come into the dish and just turn it on. But this one right here is going to be senior day for Texas, so I imagine our guys are going to be pumped up.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about Kevin O'Sullivan, and have they ever missed a tournament under Kevin? I'm not sure that they have. Obviously, a very talent-rich baseball state. Florida racks up talent. Yeah, so I get it, man. You can't take any of these series really lightly. Oklahoma's got a hell of a Friday-Saturday night duo with the Weatherspoon brothers, and so I mean, you gotta go in like Texas has been doing, lock in, night out. Every plate appearance has to be meaningful, and I know one, at times
not a single tournament missed, not a single year without a tournament appearance.
I didn't think so, man. He's obviously knows ball. He's a hell of a coach. There's a lot of different opinions of him off the field, but it's weird to see him struggle. And I know that all great coaches at some point they have that type of year, but yeah, that's a team that is shockingly bad so far and giving up a ton of runs. I think obviously that's when Georgia started to really kind of catch people's attention, was when they went into Gainesville, swept them, and did it by scoring just a ton of runs. So yeah, we'll see though. A long way to go. This is baseball, man. A couple things can click for a couple different guys, and next thing you know, instead of 6 hitters, they've got 8 guys that are really giving you hell, and it's tough. You just got to go in there, win day in, day out. But let me tell you what, Nash, that end of the year series with Oklahoma, I have a feeling, that we could be, OU's not going to be in danger of missing the tournament, but it'd be fun if we have an opportunity to maybe keep them from hosting.
Yeah, so they have kind of I think that, man, they fell a little bit more than I thought they would in the rankings. I do understand that they got swept, but that's a good LSU team. Right? That's a really good LSU team.
And a lot of people that were concerned about Oklahoma baseball coming to the year, Sooners that have came on or just talked baseball with, I mean, a lot of the concerns were about that lineup, and they didn't know if it was deep enough, and they didn't know if there's enough firepower really at the top to hang with some of these top end SEC pitchers and staffs in general. And that's, I think, what kind of got the first real dose of that this over the weekend, because it's not like LSU piled up a ton of runs or anything, and they still walked out of there with 3 wins.
Yeah, and so one thing that I also kind of want to pull up too is Michael Beadle. And I hope I didn't just pronounce that completely wrong, because I'm a big fan of his stuff that he does on Twitter. He does it for College Baseball Central. But let me see. I'm baseball turn. Sorry, share tab. Okay, this is looking like a pretty nice little conference tournament setup for Texas right here. What are your thoughts on if Texas is? Let's just say everything finishes as it does today, right? Texas is the 2 seed. I mean, you got Oklahoma, Florida. Right now, I would take Oklahoma over Florida, right? Oklahoma versus Vanderbilt. I'd probably take Vanderbilt. That'd be a Vanderbilt versus Texas matchup. And for those that may not remember, a little bit of revenge for the 2014 squad right here that finished in 3rd place versus Vanderbilt. And then that could set up a potential game versus LSU. Again, let them get a little bit of revenge. But to me, what stands out is single elimination. Is it, it's not like what it used to be, where like in the Big 12 we had a little bit of a mock going into the it was almost like a mock Omaha before you go into a regional. But I mean, I kind of like this single elimination, and I honestly, as this is set up, I would like Texas's chances to walk away with not only just say we finish outright SEC champions, like we just finished outright leader of the conference, but to actually walk away and win the SEC tournament. I actually, with how this tournament is looking set up, I actually kind of would like our chances, because you got Mississippi State, A&M, and Georgia, and Tennessee. They're all going to take each other out right there. So there's a lot of teams I think Texas would have a threat against.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, you probably, if you're just talking through it, if this is, how it ended up at come regular season's end, you probably, if you're a Texas fan, you probably root for Oklahoma to win and beat Florida and Vanderbilt both, throw their 2 studs that they have, because I don't think they have the firepower in that lineup to really just punish a Dylan Stewart as long as he's on. And you'd assume Dylan probably is throwing that first game. Maybe Luke Harrison, maybe Texas tries to save Dylan for LSU. But point is I would be rooting for the Oklahoma matchup. If it's the Vandy boys, so be it. But then again, you never know. Florida can, they can still get hot. They still got a ton of talent. And like you just said, I mean, I think any of those 3 teams could knock each other out. Same way you're talking about Georgia, Mississippi State, A&M, et cetera, up there on the top half.
And that would kind of work out to be like a little 4th game in the series for Oklahoma.
Yeah, good point.
That would be kind of a little bit of an interesting matchup right there.
But
sorry about that. But yeah. So I mean, things are looking really good for Texas. We got Houston Christian coming up, UTRGV. We need to just absolutely murder them for obvious reasons. I'm not going to even bring it up, but absolute pain happened, and one of my worst days inside the dish. It's one of those days where you stay to go, you know what? Yeah, I'm not just some fair weather fan. I stayed for the worst of the worst, right? I stayed when we were at the lowest, and that was probably it. To think of a year where we're in potential for going into the postseason, we make the NCAA regionals. To say that's one of the worst years I've ever had in the dish, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah,
a lot of fan bases like making the regionals is like their best. That's one of their best teams in their school's history, but. You just look at it. We got our 4th A&M game in a row. Prairie View A&M. I'm not going to clown. I was going to make a joke about A&M. Not going to do it. Got a little. I'll make jokes after we win the series, but
fair.
Nevertheless, I mean, yeah. Back to this. Just absolute murder at the dish. Murder on the dance floor. Texas absolutely destroyed Georgia. Is there any last thoughts that you have? I mean, my last thought would be. I misspoke on Twitter. Okay, best hitter in college baseball is Will Gasparino. Okay, that's my guy. Okay, I'm not gonna disrespect Will Gasparino ever again. But Rylan Zaborowski, he's number 2. Okay, and that dude, He might be bigger than Bear Jones, the Jared Jones, LSU. This dude, 21 extra base hits. A lot of those are home runs. On base percentage, 579, 448. He only got on base one time all weekend long. He had a 100 batting average against the Texas pitchers. You just can't say anything more than that. I mean, it's just like being able to shut down guys like this consistently. Now, I will say Nolan McCarthy, love that dude. I'm saying I love these two guys because the only other guy that's ever chatted us up on the on-deck circle like those two guys is Paul Skeens, and he turned out to be a pretty good ball player. I kind of think that it shows a little bit of the, moments not too big, almost like a Vince Youngish type thing, like just calm, cool, collected. They're playing a kids game. They recognize it when they get up on the plate. They're still 100% focused, but they're having fun. But Nolan McCarthy, I mean, without the wind, that dude probably has 4 home runs on the weekend versus Texas. So, but only got held to 2 home runs. I mean, saying only got held to 2 home runs, but this is a really good Georgia hitting team.
Yep. I mean, top to bottom, man, just overall, A+ weekend. You talk about that lineup, and you're facing a really good lineup, and you know that there's going to be moments like you just said where they're a really good hitting team. They're probably going to hit up, extra base hit or two, carry the fence with a few swings. But I mean, you can't say enough about the pitching staff, man. That's a win that Texas had to play in too. Texas would add a couple more home runs without the wind. But yeah, you cut off the head of the snake and Ryland, and that on base percentage, you do a big damage to that number with allowing him to get on base one time over the weekend. And so, I mean, we can talk forever, man, about the pitching staff and just how much confidence they ooze. And I would just remind everybody that still just college kids, man. You got a lot of season to go. Not a guarantee how next weekend plays out, but you can guarantee Texas shows up with a lot of confidence, a lot of swagger, and yeah, they seem to be really, really locked in. Night in and night out when it comes to conference. Okay, sorry, I keep saying this, and I keep wanting to make that Tuesday caveat, but the hell with Tuesdays. They're gonna get it going. They'll have another shot at Texas State, as you saw in that graphic here in a month.
We lost some really good Tuesday games. I mean, like I'm not gonna. And Texas State, like I've said this before, like that's Texas A&M Junior, right? It is what it is, right? That's like that game means so much more to them, and we get another chance to go get one back in San Marcos. So just as long as we pound them in San Marcos, right. I don't know what the hell they're saying is like pound them cats or whatever it is, but
you imagine they have our full attention, right? You would think so.
Oh yeah. I think this Texas. I think Schlossnagle and the boys are going to go into San Marcos wide awake for that game. Oh, yeah. Especially with I'll say this: a lot of trash talk was being done from a player that made a really what should have been a crucial mistake that turned out to work out for them. Congratulations on it working out. But that's why y'all are a 500 team, and all that shit talking, I think, might just come back to bite them in the ass, just a little bit. But my final note on this weekend would be Georgia had they had a 324 batting average coming in this weekend. Half of that is 162. We held them under half their batting average coming in. Their on base percentage was 629. We held them half that is 314.5. We held them to 257. The slugging percentage, and I'm going to say on OPS on this one. OPS percentage, the OPS is 5. They had 1095 coming in. We held them to 549, which is 1.5 over half. I mean, just to be able to hold the team to under half of what they're normally performing throughout the season, I just like we just can, like you said, we could just keep on going for another hour about how great this pitching staff did, and just go pitch by pitch. But man, what a special year, what a special season, and what a job by Max Wiener.
Yeah, man, and like you said, we could talk forever, but one thing I definitely would say is one of my favorite parts about this team so far. And it's still a pretty young season. There's a lot of damn baseball to go, but it's just watching the new leaders of this year's club, this year's edition of Texas baseball, kind of develop and play out. You talk about Rylan Galvan, who has got an insanely fun character arc at Texas, a guy that's come a long ways. And it's cool to see him, as well as he's hitting the baseball. Obviously, he's the leader of this team. Will Gasparino, just the way he speaks to the media, gets out there, leads by action. It's fun to watch, man. The Sunday pizzazz that, Ruger Riojas brings to the team and to the crowd, the energy. It's a lot of fun to watch. And it's cool. I'm going to say this. I see you up in the comments, Jonathan Miller. I'm going to unblock you on Twitter, all right? We're going to be friends. You can't get mad at me if Texas baseball loses or if we make a bad play in football. We're going to work through this together because just like you, man, I want Texas to be a little more serious in the other two. Not necessarily Dan baseball, but just a little more serious. And I think we've got that in football, but we're still lacking a bit in basketball. I'm with you on that.
And I do want to apologize. I had no idea about the chat function over here. I'm trust me. I do got a young mustache growing, but I mean, I'm an old man learning on computers. I mean, I feel like I remember when I was like, "Wake up, Grandpa," to my dad. I am that grandpa now with this new age of technology. But yes, I want to say, man, hey, Harry Orange Wookie, aka Brandon, man, I miss you too, bro. It's been a long time, and thank you very much for the super chats. I really do appreciate it, and I'm very sorry I just now saw them just now. But yeah, what a great weekend, Gage. This is a LV Horn on Twitter. Yeah, he was happy. Just obviously he got to see them in Vegas, Las Vegas Horn. But man, Texas baseball looks like we're back on top. I will have the chat up this next time. I promise. I'm very sorry, people. But nevertheless, let's go. Finally, let's get a midweek dub versus Houston Christian, and then I'll take another sweep on the road. I mean, so far we haven't all we've done on the road in the SEC is swept a team. And I mean that's just look, Missouri or not, that's impressive to do that consistently.
I mean, yeah, you go sweep Mississippi State, Missouri, Kentucky. I'm not saying we sweep them. I'm not saying we don't. But you have to give credit to Texas. Everybody is looking to poke holes and everything that Texas does, whether it be on the football field, the basketball court, softball, it doesn't matter. It's Texas. We're hated. We're the villains. And it's just, and I'm definitely on you with the red zone offense, Jonathan. That is a nightmare for us all. But
I think Sark is too.
God dang, man. Like, we got to fix this. I've got more gray hairs than ever, and I know they're attributed to it. I had my son's first 7-on-7 flag football practice tonight, and guess what we worked? Red zone offense. I think the whole damn field's 20 yards long, but by God, we're scoring when we get 20 yards out. But yeah, man, I don't even remember where we were because now we're thinking red zone, and I'm having cotton bowl flashbacks. Because
oh my God! I mean, yeah, I mean, honestly, like this is probably the most traumatic view for us both because this is like looking in a mirror while we're at the game. I mean, we're sitting side by side watching. Okay, yeah, we're gonna get the ball back. We're gonna get the ball back. I mean, even if we don't score right here, it's gonna be 4th and short. Like we have if they're in the 5-yard line, we stop them on 4th down. We get a punt, right? We get another chance. Oh no, did he just fumble the ball? I feel a pit in my stomach. I feel a pit in my stomach now.
Why is that guy
are they running
at us?
Are they running at us? Oh, is there no one able to tackle him? Oh, is that Ohio State fan that's an asshole? Is he able to talk to us now again after he's been shut up for the last 10 minutes and was like he's got the surrender cobra because he thinks the season's over, but now all of a sudden he's got this wave of confidence that
the first parent I met at practice tonight is the same one that I posted a text from the other day. But the first parent I met at our 7-on-7 practice tonight, we are the Buckeyes. I did not choose this name. It was given to us. Massive state of Ohio outline. Then I had the Buckeye, like where Columbus was. And I was just like, Jesus Christ, really? Like, I'm over here with my Longhorn tattoo on. But, I mean, I don't care. His is Ohio. His is ugly as hell. We're just jealous. It is what it is.
It is what it is, and you know what? We'll have to get one back on August 31st. But until then, let's go finish this baseball season and have a great baseball season. I mean, we got Houston Christian, Kentucky up on deck, and then it's it's not going to get any easier through the rest of the way. I mean, we're going to have to prove ourselves to be able to hold on to this number 2 ranking that we've had, but we've had to fight to be able to get this. And man, it's going to be really exciting to see if we can actually hold on to it, because we're going to have to earn it. So, everybody, go subscribe to 40 Acre Vibes, Ghost of Texas Football. It's Ghost and Friends on YouTube. Follow him on Twitter. He goes live all the time. Has a lot of great live shows. He's been doing a lot of great stuff. He started this last year on football. Not this last year, the year before, but he's been really starting to get in some starting to cook with that peanut oil this year. So, all right, go follow him on Twitter and on YouTube, and hope you all have a great day.
Appreciate you, Nash.